First of all, congratulations, and thanks for taking the question. Getting back to Saturday at the CIA and your statement here at the podium, why make this crowd-size issue something to talk about at all? I mean, why get into it? Did it bother the president that much that he felt that you needed to come out here and straighten that out for us? And why did he choose the CIA as the venue to talk about that?
So two things. One, I just got handed a note. All of the people were not, no one in the front row was Trump. They were all CIA.
Front row.
That's what you asked.
I said first 3 rows.
Okay. I'll find out who the other 2 were. I'm sorry, I just got you the front row. Give me a second. I'll get the second and the third. We're going to get to the 4th or 5th? Or? Okay, so let me see what I can do. Look, I think one of the things that happened, Jim, was that he kept hearing about this rift that existed. He talked about it a couple weeks ago after his briefing, how proud he is and how much he respects the intelligence community. And I think when he walked into that and he saw it, he wanted to make sure that people knew that what you're hearing on television or in reports about this rift, I have the utmost respect for you. I honor your service. I'm proud of what you're doing and the sacrifices that you're making. And I think that he wanted them to know that you see and hear all this stuff on TV about this rift that so-called exists. And clearly it doesn't matter. Like, don't believe what you're hearing. Know that I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I think that's why he wanted to do it, is to make sure that they understand, they heard firsthand how much he respects them, how much he wanted to dispel the myth that there was a quote-unquote rift.
But in terms of the crowd size issue, why bring that up at the CIA? And why did you come out Saturday afternoon to talk about that? Did he tell you, Sean, I'm upset about this, I want you to come out?
No, I'm not going to get into conversations that I have with the president, but I will tell you that it's not just about a crowd size. It's about this constant, he's not going to run. Then if he runs, he's going to drop out. Then if he runs, he can't win. There's no way he can win Pennsylvania. There's no way he can win Michigan. Then if he won, it's, oh, he didn't. There is this constant theme to undercut the enormous support that he has. And I think it's just unbelievably frustrating when you're continually told it's not big enough, it's not good enough, you can't win. And hold on, let me just, because I think it's important. He's gone out there and defied the odds over and over and over again. And he keeps getting told what he can't do by this narrative that's out there, and he exceeds it every single time. And I think there's an overall frustration when you turn on the television over and over again and get told that there's this narrative that you didn't win, you weren't going to run, you can't pick up this state. That's not, that's a fool's errand to go to Pennsylvania. Why is he in Michigan? How silly. They'll never vote for him. A Republican hasn't won that state since '88. And then he goes and he does it. And then what's the next narrative? Well, it must have been because of this. He didn't win that. And then, oh, people aren't attending your thing. Or John Lewis is the first person to skip his inauguration. Not true. And over again, the MLK bust. I think over and over again, there's this constant attempt to undermine his credibility and the movement that he represents. And it's frustrating for not just him, but I think so many of us that are trying to work to get this message out. And so I mentioned this to Jonathan, but part of this is a two-way street. Like, we want to have a healthy dialogue, not just with you, but with the American people. Because he's fighting for jobs, he's fighting to make this country safer. But when you're constantly getting told that can't be true, we doubt that you can do this, this won't happen, and that's the narrative when you turn on television every single day, it's a little frustrating. And I think that for those people around him, his senior team especially, but so many of the other folks that are either here in the administration, that gave up their time during the transition, they left a job to work for 3 or 4 weeks because they're so committed to having his nominees get through, it's a little demoralizing to turn on the TV day after day and hear, can't do this guy's not going to get confirmed, no way they're going to go through.
But isn't that just part of the conversation that happens in Washington?
No, it's not. I think
comes with being president of the United States and working at the White
House.
No,
look, I've been doing this a long time. You've been doing this too. I've never seen it like this, Jim. I've never, and again, I'm not looking to go back and forth, but you're asking for an explanation. And I think that it's important to understand that whether it's the president himself, the vice president, the senior team, the volunteers, or the people who are out there just, in America that voted for him or walked the streets or put up a sign, that to constantly told no, 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 and to watch him go yes, yes, yes every time, and to come up to the next hurdle and see someone put a block up, gets a little frustrating. And I think that we are, and so you see this historic thing, and he stands there at the Capitol, and I was not that close, but on the platform, and you look out, and it's an amazing view. And it's just so many people who got in long lines, who had to go around all this different stuff to get in, and that was for the first time that we did have to go through fencing that far out, and then to hear, well, look at this shot, and it wasn't that big. It's a little demoralizing because when you're sitting there and you're looking out and you're in awe of just how awesome that view is and how many people are there, and you go back and you turn on the television and you see shots of comparing this and that. I mean, and then you look at the stuff that's happening, the nominees that get put out, the Democrats stopping. There are 2 cabinet officials, ladies and gentlemen, that are taking their office today. He visited the CIA, and a director that was considered a consensus candidate wasn't approved. Where's the story? And I think that
Isn't there a fair criticism that you've got bigger fish to fry? Like, why worry about a couple of tweets about crowd sizes?
Because it's not. Because that's what I'm saying. You're minimizing the point here, Jim. It's not about one tweet. It's not about one picture. It's about a constant theme. It's about sitting here every time and being told, no, well, we don't think he can do that. He'll never accomplish that. He can't win that. It won't be the biggest. It's not going to be that good. The crowds aren't that big. He's not that successful. The narrative and the default narrative is always negative. And it's demoralizing. And I think that when you sit here and you realize the sacrifice the guy made of leaving a very, very successful business because he really cares about this country. And he wants to, despite your partisan differences, he cares about making this country better for everybody. He wants to make it safer for everybody. And so when you wake up every day, and that's what you're seeing over and over again, and you're not seeing stories about the cabinet folks that he's putting or the success that he's having trying to keep American jobs here, yeah, it is a little disappointing. So it's
always going to be positive. Sometimes
it's not. And sometimes we'll
stories.
make mistakes. I promise you that. But it's not always got to be negative, Jim. Some days we do the right thing. Some days we are successful. So it's part of this is saying when we're right, say we're right. When we're wrong, say we're wrong. But it's not always wrong and negative. There's a lot of things that he's done already. A lot of amazing people he's appointed, a lot of success that he's having. And it would be once in a while for someone just to say, report it straight up. He appointed this person, here's their background, not why they're not going to get nominated, not why it's not going to happen. So,
Thanks, Sean.
hold on, one